Good morning.
Good
Welcome.
morning. It's the 26th of January, the last
2025.
2025, the last Sunday in January. And our topic today is choosing possibility. We've really been talking about this theme all month about um, choosing, choosing, deciding what you want to experience, to be, do, or have, and knowing that that's the first step in creating it. But I have some quotes from Ernest Holmes, and he says, "How much life, abundance, goodness, truth, and beauty can we mentally entertain?
How much?
How much can we entertain? This is the measure of our possible experience. This is the mold of acceptance." I always used that concept of a mold when I wanted to experience something or create something, that it's like a mold in the heavens that fills up with my ideas, and then when the mold is finished, it plops it out, and I get to experience it. The infinite fills all molds and flows forever into new and greater ones.
Hmm.
It is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. We give birth to it. That's Ernest Holmes in Know Yourself, page 80.
That's the exact opposite of what we often do when we get to be afraid. When we're
Absolutely.
afraid, what we tend to do is even we plan it for the short term, but we make our world smaller.
Right.
And when we make our world smaller, and in our mind, we're making it safer. The problem is, eventually, if we're scared often enough and we go to that place of fear, we make our world so small that there's actually not even room enough for us. And I work with people all the time who are trapped in the small space they call their life because they were afraid to say yes to possibility, because possibility failed them, something didn't work. And I think
Or
it's
because they've never experienced it, they haven't experienced enough good things happening
right. Well, even if
for them.
even if they have, unfortunately, we're often wired to look for what's wrong, not for what's right. And
Yeah,
so
to
even in,
protect
yeah,
ourselves.
even in the midst of the very best, we can find something wrong with it and worry that maybe it won't last, it won't work, I was just good luck. And we go back to this kind of making small as opposed to allowing increase, which is what you're talking about. When you read that, I cannot help at a deep, very deep level, smile.
Yeah.
It's a happy yes. It's a yes, an inviting yes. And I would ask you not only to say yes to the possibility of it, but smile into it. Allow yourself to find joy while you're thinking about allowing your world to be big enough for you and all of your creativity.
Right. This is not a begging or pleading
Oh
prayer.
no, no.
That almost indicates that you don't deserve it, you don't expect it. So it's not a dear God, please give me.
Yeah.
This is, what can I create? What can my experience be? By my imagining it, imaging it,
Mhm.
expecting it, even when you don't know how. You
Yeah.
don't have to know the how. You have to know the what.
Imagine that it's hot, and because it's winter for a lot of us, imagine that it's hot and you just go into an ice cream store and there's like 50 different flavors that you can choose from. And somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, have all that you want, it's all paid for. Pick as many as you want, pick any combination you want. This is all for you. We made this for you, which is very different from, I guess, what we often do. So this is a matter of retraining ourselves to always look at the glass not only half full, but having what we need to fill it completely.
So when I first came into this teaching about 50 years ago, I was manifesting wonderful things. My dream home, we did not know how we would be able to get it, but we got it within 6 months of my declaring it was mine. And my husband at the time was an airline pilot. And I remember we were going to the Bahamas once, and a friend had a small airplane. And my husband at the time said, "Oh, I'd never want one of those. Too many people die. Too many people crash and die in those." I said, "I think it would be great to have one. You're a pilot. Why not?" And so, as it turned out later on, he did get one. We were no longer married at the time, But I seem to have expanded his possibility thinking too, because he did get one, and it was very handy. Um, so I have another quote from Ernest Holmes. This Thing Called You is a book he wrote. He says, "When you say all things are possible, you're affirming that the power which created the planets is now operating in your affairs, in and through everything you do." So, when you say all things are possible. So, yes, indeed.
You
We need to
know,
do possibility thinking.
a really great example of that, and I have to appreciate you in this, is that we decided that after being 3 months or 4 months with only
Four
one
months.
car, 4 months with one car, it doesn't work very well. So I was on the internet looking for a second car. I was looking for an affordable car that would also be economic. And I said to Judith, what would you like? And she said, I would like an electric car. I would like one that is technically state of the art. And she went on to tell me all about Tesla. And I thought to myself, they're very expensive. The 49, 69, 79, $89,000. I don't think so. But because she said that, I went to the internet and I looked and I found an affordable used one, which today is parked in our parking lot.
Yay!
Yeah, yeah.
Which
But
I have yet to learn to use.
and I don't think that that's necessarily important. Right.
But nevertheless, I'm very excited because we have been excited about Teslas from the first time we saw one in the Boca Mall. And of course, the price tag was like 60,000 at the time, and we said, well, not yet. But I'm really very excited, and it's a used car, but it looks brand new and drives brand new. It really looks like it's never had a fingerprint on it.
Mhm.
So we're excited about possibility, thinking, because that's where it starts.
But also,
If you don't even think it's a possibility, you won't go there.
but it's also a good example of what happens when you say yes to possibility. As
Yes,
soon as we said yes to the possibility, not only did we get what we asked for, we also got
got
to
to end the
know,
price range.
we also got to know how little we know about this, how much we have to learn, and how many
Yeah,
problems there are to solve to be able to actually fully enjoy it. The tendency is to say, if there's problem to solve, maybe we shouldn't have it, maybe we shouldn't do it, maybe it's not right for us, whatever it is. But I think it's a good metaphor for if you sign up for the thing that you want, don't expect that it's going to come without an opportunity for you to do some learning and some growing and some changing.
exactly.
And I think very often we're saying, could you please leave everything the same, but could you please give me what I want? And the answer is you have to make room for what you want in consciousness. With the Tesla, it's a list of YouTubes that we're going to have to watch in order to be able to find out what it is we bought. But the question is, are you up for that? Are you up for having your life have everything you want in it and pay the price mentally and spiritually for that? Or do you want to just simply have everything remain the way it is and get the things that you want also?
Most of us grow up with our parents telling us, don't be greedy, don't be selfish, don't want too much. And
Yeah.
so it's a real shift to go around and say, well, not only is it okay for me to have things that I want and pleasures that I want, but it is the Father's good pleasure. See, I had to really say that Bible quote to myself a lot in the beginning, 50 years ago. It is the Father's good pleasure to give to me the kingdom, which I think is our spiritual connection, and all things added unto that. So it's the all things added unto that, which are the pleasures in life that we get stuck with. We know it's the Father's good pleasure to give to us the spiritual kingdom of God, and knowing that we're one with it. But is it also okay to have um, I won't call them guilty pleasures, but not guilty pleasures? It is okay. And it starts here. We have to accept it, accept the possibility before we can have anything.
Well, and again, it goes back to me, it goes back to you often have the architecture for a little world while desiring a
Right,
larger one.
right.
We're going to have to change the architecture. We're going to have to start saying to ourselves, we can have what it is we require, what it is we desire, and and know that in the middle of our talk, we'll get phone calls.
And years ago, you created an easy way to remember
Oh, yeah,
the steps of this. Do you remember? You want to repeat
I
it?
sure do. Well, in order to be able to get what you want in this universe, you need to be able to see it. That's the first S, see. See it, and then you need to be able to sense it. What that means is feel it in your
Say
heart.
it.
Say it, I'm sorry, say it.
Not only think it, but say it out
Say
loud.
it and say it. Say it with your word. Give it your word. Let yourself hear what you're saying. And then sense it, that is, feel it with your heart. And then Judith had one that I really like, savor the taste.
Savor it. In other words, enjoy thinking about the joy that you will have when you have that
You know
experience or
why
have
that's
that
such an
thing.
important step that I never would have thought of is that very often we see it, we say it, we feel it, and then
We hope it, we wish
and
it.
then we undo it.
Yeah,
And we
but we
undo
think
it
it's
with,
not possible.
God, I hope this works. And so if we could go from see it, say it, sense it, savor it,
Yeah.
allow yourself to immerse yourself in the joy that you're a creator, that it's possible. And I think we don't do that.
That's a very necessary step in
Yeah,
manifestation.
yeah, I think so. And so I have to give you credit. And we actually did that. We saw ourselves. I saw driving a Tesla. I said yes to it. I felt that it would be a good idea, and then I savored the taste of it.
And we did our research. We
Oh yeah,
checked
yeah. I checked. I've read
what
all the
could be the downside
I
and
read all
what.
the YouTube video reviews of that year, that model, somebody who had had it for 6 years and what they thought of it. And don't think that because you see it, say it, sense it, that the thing you're going to actually get is necessarily what's good for you. Go back and do your homework, study it, examine it, and then get excited and move forward with it.
My son has a Tesla, so we called him and say, what do we need to check out or look for in a used Tesla? And he was very helpful
Yeah.
and supportive.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing that, and I don't want to spend all of our time talking about cars, but the other thing that happened too, and this is metaphorically why I'm bringing it up. I took it today to get it charged for the first time to a charge center, and I met somebody else who had one, and then I met another person who had one, and they instantly wanted to support and encourage. So I thought, wow, isn't it interesting? When you decide to say yes to something, you open yourself up to the world of other people that have said yes to it as well.
yeah,
And that's an
yeah,
important
yeah.
piece because now your world is not just expanded for you, it's expanded in the company that you keep.
And so you can use this for your health,
Yeah.
for your wealth, for your creative expression, for all manner of things. One caution, we urge people not to try to use it to attract a specific person into their life because another person has free will too, and that would be manipulation. You can you can imagine an ideal relationship for you without a particular face or person, but certainly enjoy imagining, imaging a relationship that you would love, but not with a specific
Well,
person.
and you can imagine the relationship that you're in working. And if it doesn't work, imagining it working is different than imagining that that person's going to fall in love with you or that person's
Yeah,
going to,
yeah.
not trying to manipulate their emotional state, but trying to be available for the emotional state that would make it possible. Trying to live into that. If you treat everybody as a friend, that's a way of seeing and being with people. Some of them are going to say no, thank you, and some of them are going to say yes, please, or thank you. But the bottom line is, if you approach everyone with that perspective, with that yes perspective of everybody is somebody that I could know and enjoy, you're going to find a lot more people with whom that'll actually occur.
Exactly. Oh, I just thought of another funny time. We were doing an unexpected income
Oh yeah.
program with the church. And we were saying to people, the money can come from out of the sky, or I can't remember how out of the sky happened, but
Mhm.
we were going to a ministers' conference, and on the way back, the ministers' conference
Well,
goes
actually, I
just a
was going to
thousand
speak. I was
dollars or something.
invited to be a
Yeah.
speaker, and finances were a little tight. Ministers make a fortune, but not necessarily visibly. And so we didn't really have the money. We were going to put it on a charge card. I really didn't want to do that, but at the same time, I don't get invited to be the presenter that often. So I said yes. We flew
And two
to
flights,
Vegas.
yeah.
I think it was Salt Lake,
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. We did the conference. It was wonderful. We were still going to be in debt, about $1,000. And we were sitting at the airport, and the airport person said, anybody want to go to the next flight? It's $250 per person, if you do that. So yes, we raised our hand and we signed up for the $250 per person. And then about an hour later, they said that flight is now booked. Would anybody like to go on the next flight? We thought, well, we could do that. Well, we ended up having, I think, more than we actually spent in money, actual money, not flights that we could take, but actual money. And that literally fell out of the United sky.
Yeah, it was a great example, and and I'm sure it would have happened if we weren't doing unexpected income
Oh,
program
I'm not sure
because
we would
we
have
were
noticed it. Yeah.
expecting unexpected income.
Right. Yeah.
So I want to share a couple other things here. Scott Aubrey is the minister who is in support of all of our ministries and provides a lot of quotes. But this is a quote of his. He says, "There's something in you that is greater than any condition or circumstance you're facing, something that was part of you when you were created.
Mm.
It's a presence and power awaiting your recognition." That's an affirmation that we can take to heart and live with. The essence of unlimited possibility. That's by Scott Aubrey.
I love it.
So we are recommending that we all live that way. It's very helpful, especially in a time like that we're experiencing right now, where every day on the news we hear, "Oh no, oh no, not that, not that." At least we can keep our own lives in possibility thinking.
And we're the ones individually that are going to change the world. And I think one of the things, even with all the political changes that have gone on, that some of us are not as thrilled with as others, when you feel cornered, you're really having to face up something that we should always be facing, which is it's really going to be up to me. It's up to me to make my world a world I can live in. We sometimes defer to other people that seem to be in favor of our living for them to make our living worth living. And the truth is, it's up to me. And so, what we need to be able to do and be willing to do is to say yes to the possibility that our lives can work even better than we had imagined.
I want to tell you a story when you have possibility thinking, and I'm going to read it. A UC Berkeley graduate student arrived late for a graduate statistics class one day, and seeing two math problems on the board, he assumed they were homework assignments. When he turned them in, and a few days later, he remarked to his professor that the problems were, quote, "a little harder than usual." To which the professor explained, "These weren't homework. They were famous, unsolved problems in statistics." The student, George Danzig, went on to become a world-renowned mathematician, a mathematical scientist rather, who made contributions to industrial engineering, operations research, computer science, economics, and statistics. Now, he would never have attempted those if he had been told they were unsolvable.
So, how many times do you, during the course of the day, see something and automatically rule it out because you think you're not up to it, don't have enough of what you need in order to make it happen? What kind of risk are you willing to take to solve a problem that somebody else has told you isn't solvable? And if you're willing to do that, even if you're not successful in solving the problem, the skills you may gather in the process of doing that are going to be invaluable. And so, I draw every day, and every day that I draw, I'm accustomed to having at least 50% of what I do not have any real value as far as being something I'd want to print or show anyone. And then there's another 50%. And out of that, I may end up with a couple of pieces that are absolutely ridiculously beautiful. But I need to do that. I need to do more than look for the good one. I need to be able to walk through the learning curve every single time I sit down to end up with something that, oh, this is really worthwhile. I think we disqualify ourselves so often from life because of that. A short story, I had a Porsche years ago, and I took it to a race. They call it a Gymkhana race, which is a course you travel through as fast as you can and try not to lose control of your car. And so I went and I raced, and there were like 50 people, and I think I came in 49. And I had a Porsche and I didn't understand why. So what I did when you do this is I said, the car is not that good, apparently. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. And I took it to my mechanic, who also was a race car driver. And he said, well, let's take it out for a drive and see what it can't do. Well, I found out, thank God I had extra underwear in the car. I had no idea what this car could do. And herein lies the issue. I didn't know what was possible. And so after I learned what was possible, I went back and I raced again, and I think I came in like 25th. I never came in to anywhere near the top 10 because I didn't practice. But the difference between 49 and 25 is what I learned saying yes to what was a scary thing to say yes to, while at the same time knowing that it was possible changed everything. I was an impossible driver, meaning I didn't think very much was possible.
Exactly. So I'm going to close with a Bible quote that supports this idea of possibility thinking. It's from Ecclesiastes 9, verses 7 through 10. Go, eat your bread with enjoyment and drink your wine with a merry heart.
Unless you're an alcoholic in recovery. Okay.
For God has long ago approved what you do. Let your garments always be white. Enjoy life with those who love all the days of your life. Enjoy life with those you love all the days of your life that are given you under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do with your might.
Yeah, no halfway measures.
Yeah,
Jump in, fully in. And if you're fully in, then you also have all the resources that are available with that. Some of us say, I'm half in and I want all the resources.
I think the point about let your garments always be white means, a white garment would be something you would wear in a very careful situation where you wouldn't, get the desert dirt in it and whatnot. But he's saying, no, wear the best, wear your best clothing. It even has another saying here that I didn't include because we don't relate to it, but it says, do not let oil be lacking on your head. In other words, they often used oil, I think, to clean their hair because they had more oil than they had water. But I didn't include that because
Well, I
we don't
tried the
relate to
oil.
it.
I tried the oil.
We
See what
tried
happened.
see what happened. Ah,
Yeah.
okay,
So let's,
it's time to share our screen now, I think.
yeah.
Uh, where is it?
Click up
That's
here.
not it.
Click up here.
That's us.
Yeah, share.
Honey, we were supposed to share something else. Oh, goodness. What happened to us? Here we go.
Stop share, please.
There we go. We don't
Wonderful.
usually share ourselves. But anyway, you all know what we were going to say anyway. I don't know what that is. I can't see that. Would you do it?
I'm sorry, folks.
Did we
We're-
stop the recording?
We're
Let's
gonna
stop
stop.
that.
Let's stop the recording, yeah.